So you guys, we'll do the best we can. Okay. So while I'm pulling up this, why don't you guys give us a who, what, when, where, why, who you are, where you are, what kind of boat, and where, did I already say where? Yeah, where you are. Tiffany?
My name is Tiffany. My family and I live on our sailboat. It is a Beneteau Oceanus 500, so 50 foot. It's me, my husband, and our 2 children. We are currently in Panama in Central America. We've been full-time liveaboards for a year and a half, but used to do part-time prior to this.
Awesome. Fresh to salty?
We are, Latrell and Steven, we are on a 40-foot Jeanneau sailboat. Where are we? We're in Fort Pierce for now. And we've been doing this for 5 years.
5 years.
It's awesome. Grace, Manta Bear?
Hi, my name is Grace. We are on Manta Bear in 500, Lagoon 500, and we've been doing this for a year and a half. Hello, everyone.
Hello. And I am Randy, and Bella is here with me too, laying on the couch. And Steve and I, my husband and I, are a family of 3. And Cody, our son, just recently moved off the boat, but we are on a 2002 Fontaine Peugeot Athena. It's a sailing catamaran. And we've spent most of our time in Florida, but did a little time in the Bahamas as well. And now that Cody is moved off the boat, my husband and I are kind of moving into our forever journey and traveling wherever we want to go. But right now we're based in, we're in St. Augustine today, and most likely St. Augustine tomorrow, and then moving up, hopefully out to the Atlantic up to Jacksonville. So we're trying to get to Rhode Island this summer. That's our goal. All right, so I have, if anybody else sees, I invited Nomadic Whims, there's We See Kings. Awesome, We See Kings. It's been a while. I'll keep checking the invites, but Nomadic Whims, if anybody wants to jump in, you don't need to know the questions. I have them. I'll read them off to you. So please jump in. And if anybody notices in the chat, if I miss it, that somebody says, me, let me know so I can add them, please. But we'll go ahead and get started. Actually, We See Kings, do you want to give us a little intro as to who you guys are, what you're on, and where you are?
Sure. I'm Sandra. My husband, the captain, is Cade. We're here sailing right now. We have a Sprout, 1999 Sprout 46 catamaran. And we have 2 teenage boys on board and an adult son that's not with us. We have Loki over here. Loki! He's ignoring me, as usual. And we have Phoebe. Phoebe! Yeah. And we're in the Bahamas. We've been living aboard for 3 years.
Very cool. Thanks for that update. Thanks for introducing yourselves. Were you guys the ones shaving the dog the other day?
Yeah, that was me. That was him.
Oh, yes. That was awesome. That was such a fun live to watch. That was great.
I still haven't finished his haircut.
Aw, very cool. Well, welcome in, sailors. And again, if anyone want to join, by all means, hit that invite button. I'll add you up there. And welcome to our viewers. This is, probably our 14th, I think, episode of Sailors Roundtable. We started last year, and we've been doing it once a month, and now we're doing it every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So the topic today is a liveaboard lifestyle tips for beginners. So in case anyone is really thinking of maybe, could I do this? Let me think about it. Or somebody is already looking at boats. These tips can kind of help you determine on if A, you really should do it, you really want to do it, and B, to feel confident that yes, this is a great decision. So we'll get started. Oh, Bella, shush your mouth. It's not dinner time. I also want to mention that, thank you. These are really so important. The daily heartbeats, you can give them to any sailors. You'll see, just click on their name and click the plus sign if you haven't followed. And then also inspiration. Do you guys want to jump in? Let me know. And then also you can click on their names and give them gifts. So daily heartbeats are very important, and all the little community fest things. Bella, shush. She's starving. So once we get going with the questions, I need to feed my dog, I guess. All right. So again, chat, if you have any questions, just drop them in. All right, first question is, what made you decide to live aboard in the first place? Tiffany?
So my husband has been sailing since he was a young child, and he introduced it to me. We've been together 16 years, so he introduced it to me like on the lake and like little small boats like Hobie Cats, and sunfishes and little stuff like that. And so that's how I first learned. And then right before we got pregnant with our first child, we were trying to get pregnant. We were already married, and he showed me a bunch of YouTube videos of people that were doing it full time and traveling around the world. And I was like, sold. And I would have left like the very next day, except for, of course, with life and stuff, it takes a while to get everything situated. So it was really from that time to about 4 years later before we finally were able to buy like our first boat and do part-time. So we used to do part-time cruising where we would go to the Bahamas for like 3-4 months, come back to the States, and then the next season do it again and stuff like that. And then now we are full-time, and we've been full-time about a year and a half.
Awesome. Thank you. Precious Salty?
So we had both worked corporate jobs, whatever, for years. And then like 8 years before we came on the boat, we started fostering. And I started staying home with the kids, and he was working. And I was burned out, just real burned out. So he came to me and said, hey, I've been thinking a lot about retirement, and I found these videos of these people that live on boats and travel around, and I'm like, done, ready, let's go. And he's like, well, I was thinking like a 10-year plan and a catamaran and all this stuff. And I was like, no, I don't have 10 years.
Okay, I'll figure it out.
And so he said, well, if we went with the older boat, a monohull, we cashed out a retirement, we could go in 5 years. I said, I don't have 5 years to keep doing what we're doing right now. I was just over the fostering world. And 18 months later, we put a for sale sign in our yard and drove to this boat. It took 18 months for us to get the house ready to sell and sell off everything we owned and just go.
That's pretty quick. Like, once you put your mind to it, fast forward, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Banta Bear, Grace?
Yeah, so back in 2017, we went to the Cayman Islands as vacation for a family, and we were kayaking. We had like a long tender kayak, and it was my husband, Jacob, behind, and I was holding Jem. He was a baby, like 6 months old, like 9 months old. And we were looking for the Stingray City. So we had been there before, and we see this catamaran, and we're like, hey, let's just ask. They must know where the Stingray City is. Like, if they could just point at us. And so we started talking to the couple, but we had already the idea to move somewhere else, like somewhere in Europe for a year, or at this time we were thinking very seriously to move to the Cayman Islands. Like, we love the ocean, everything there. And so we found this catamaran, and we're like, hey guys, like, point us at the direction. And we asked them, like, when is your vacation over? And then they said, well, we live here. And we're like, wait, people live on boats? And then we're like, well, what happens if there's a storm? Because there was a tropical storm coming by. And they said, we will move the boat. We were sold. Just those two questions, and then we from there started saving and figuring out. We started watching videos of how people do it. Like, we watch Gone with the Winds, like the whole episodes, all the seasons, like everything. And that's how we're like, okay, we're gonna save and we're gonna make it come true. So, yeah.
Awesome. Sounds similar to our origin story too. We see Kings.
Hey, so my husband decided out of the blue that we should sell everything and go live on a boat. And it took him 12 years to talk me into it. I grew up in the desert in Phoenix, Arizona, and I'd never been on a boat and was like, you're crazy. But eventually, when our boys got a little older, he talked them into how fun it would be to live on a boat. And then the three of them ganged up on me and convinced me to go. So we had bought a house in Florida that we were flipping. So we had it all remodeled and nice, and we sold it, paid cash for the boat, sold our furniture and our cars and everything else, and just move on full time. And the plan was do it for a year. If we hate it, we'll go back to land. If not, do it for like 3 years. And this is our third year. We are now getting ready to go back to the States. matter of fact, we're heading towards St. Augustine, Randy Joe, to get our boys into adult life because they're 18. One's almost 18 and one's 18. And they've never had a driver's license or permit or anything because we've been on the boat. So time to go back, get them adulting, get them doing what they're going to do. And then maybe in 2 to 3 years, my husband and I will go back out and do it again.
Also sounds similar to our story. That's awesome. So we have a similar story to Manta Bear. We were out in the Virgin Islands and we saw these boats out there in the bay with people kind of taking their groceries to shore, taking the laundry back or taking the groceries to the boat, laundry to the shore, and all this stuff. We're like, they must be living on these boats. So we really like the Virgin Islands too. So we went back to Colorado. Okay, I'm from Colorado, high and dry, desert-ish, and not used to boating at all. We have some lakes and some ponds, and that's about it, on reservoirs. So I'm not used to boating at all. And we started doing this research. Literally, as soon as we got off the plane, a few days later, we were in pandemic lockdown. So you couldn't fly anymore. You couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't see anybody. You couldn't do anything. It was horrible. So we had just come back from this awesome vacation, so pumped on this new location and the possibility of boat life. So we started doing research, watching YouTubes as well. We like the O'Kellys. That was one of our favorites. Of course, Vagabond and all the usual suspects. So we started doing the research. My husband actually found a boating school to go to in Stuart, Florida. We found a boat in St. Augustine. So we kind of put 2 and 2 together. After it only took 2 months to do research on the boat, get a survey, put down a payment, drive cross country from Colorado to Florida with everything we could pack up in 2 vehicles and move on the boat. So we've been on it now for 6 years, but it really was just, I think we needed a change as a family. It was, we were in the same routine of 9 to 5, 9 to 5, 9 to 5, go to school, go to work, and no, not really much adventure. So the pandemic honestly really helped change our lifestyle, but you could do it anytime. So that was kind of the catalyst for us. Okay, next question. What's the biggest misconception people have about liveaboard life? Tiffany, you have a good answer, it looks like.
Oh yeah, that it's a full-time vacation. When we first started doing social media, that was like instantly the first thing that I noticed that people thought, which I understand, because if you haven't followed people that show you like the realistic side of it, I can see how the romanticized part of it is probably what most people know about boating if you've never known anyone doing this lifestyle. So definitely the number one misconception, I think, is that people think it's like a nonstop vacation and they don't realize that you're literally living your life on a boat. Yeah, you're traveling around, but you're still doing laundry, cooking, going to the grocery store, schooling your kids if you have kids on board, whatever. So we're really living like a normal life in that regard. Like, I don't know about y'all, but when I go on vacation, I am not cooking, cleaning, homeschooling my kids. Like, I'm kicking it. Okay, I ain't doing nothing. And that's definitely not the case when you're full-time liveaboard. But I think that a lot of people think that.
I agree. Fresh to salty?
I agree with Tiffany, but also I think everybody seems to think that if you own a boat or live on a boat that you must be wealthy.
That was my second one.
You must be wealthy and you must be living off the trust fund. And we are like not. Stephen works a full-time job and we are scraping pennies together all the time to fix something else on the boat.
Same.
Manta Bear?
So I was gonna say the first 2, living on vacation, being wealthy, and so I'll say something different. I think a lot of people don't realize that we can take showers, cook in the boat, like sleep, and we're not sailing 100% of the time. Like we're actually on anchor and, relaxing for a bit.
Great points. We see kings?
All those things, but also we had family members that were like, oh, you're going to get boarded. Once we got away from the U.S. and into the Caribbean, you're going to get boarded by pirates. You're going to be lost in a storm. You're going to be eaten by sharks. All of the things. And crime has been very low on all the islands we've been on. You just have to, just like living in the States, you just have to not leave your stuff out to get taken and take care of things. And we avoid places that are known for dangerous, piracy or anything like that. And I scuba dive with sharks. That's not a problem. And watching the weather, like constantly watching the weather. If you check the weather that morning, you better check it again that afternoon or sooner.
Now, I agree with everybody as well. Another one Captain Steve had actually brought up is that we probably thought the conveniences, we thought the conveniences were basically the same, maybe a little different than land. So, I want to go get a cappuccino. You can't just go and get a cappuccino. You might have to dinghy to shore, walk 5 miles to a cafe to get your cappuccino. So for us,
Right.
it was like a big wake up call. Like, yeah, the laundry, the groceries, all the conveniences of living in town and walking or driving somewhere, poof, completely gone. So you have to totally be open-minded on how to change up your reality for that.
And when you
I
have
love
kids,
Roundtable, says dancing. Woo! We love dancing.
when you have kids on board, you tell them, okay, we found a store. Here are your snacks. Make them last. So if they eat them all in one day, they're just pretty much in trouble till we find another store.
Yes, exactly. You're out of luck, guys. Okay, what size boat do beginners actually need? Kind of an odd question. What size boat do you think is a good starter boat, I guess? Tiffany?
My answer is probably going to be bigger than most people might say. I would say most people are probably going to say 35, but I say 40 in my opinion. Also, of course, this is going to have to do with if you're solo, if you're just a couple, if you have children with you, because obviously we have 4 people on our boat. We also have friends like Ryan that we've talked about a lot. They have 4 kids, so they have 6 people. So obviously that's going to depend on how big your crew of people are. I would probably say 40. We've had smaller boats. We've had a lot of large monohulls. And to me, the bigger the boat, the more comfort you have. Like we've had 25 and 35 foot. And you don't have as many luxury because you don't have the space, right? They're smaller. So you don't have the space for the luxury items. It's not as comfortable when you're going offshore and you're in big waves. We have a 50 foot now. It's definitely more comfortable. We're a monohull, but it's definitely more comfortable and definitely have more space for the luxury items. And if you're trying to talk your wife or your kids into doing this lifestyle, I would definitely say get something big enough where they're going to have enough space and also that you're going to be able to have room for the luxury things if they're on the fence about it, because you're going to have to get used to the whole monitoring your water, monitoring your power, all this. And if you have little things like a washing machine, a water maker, an ice maker, all these things are going to make the transition easier, especially if you have some people in your crew or group that are a little hesitant about the lifestyle. Because when we were part-time on a 35 footer, it was very bare bones. We didn't have any of the things I just mentioned. We didn't even have an electric windlass. We are pulling it up by hand. Not we, my husband. But he was pulling our anchor up by hand. So definitely all the things that you can add to make it a little more luxury if you're going to be full time. Now back then we weren't full time, so we were only going for a couple months. But once we switched over to full time, we knew we wanted more space and more of the room for those luxury items because this is going to be our full time home.
Precious Salty?
Minimum size of a boat.
I would say no matter who you are, 40 foot.
Same. Even if it was just 2 people, especially if you're doing monohull, I would not do less than 40 feet.
Manspear?
I would say the biggest that you can buy, I would say at least 45, because on boats you start fixing so many things and investing so much money that when you're gonna buy your boat, if you say I have a started boat, it doesn't really happen. You buy your boat, start fixing it, and then you have invested so much on it that you don't want to sell it to get a bigger boat unless you have a lot of money. But I've seen a lot of people, I wish I had a bigger boat. I thought this was a home where you start at home and then you go to the next level. So I would say at least 45 feet long.
All right. And we see Kings?
It would depend on your situation. Are you a couple? Do you have a whole gaggle of kids, whatever? But as far as difficulty, I don't think there's going to be enough of a difference between a 38-foot boat and a 46-foot boat when it comes to anchoring and docking and stuff like that. So get what you're comfortable with and what is enough space for you, because like Ray said, you don't want to invest in a boat and then shortly afterwards realized we need to go get a bigger boat. But you know, ours is a 46. It's the first boat we ever had. We did take it's catamaran. We took a sailing class on a monohull before we did all this, and yeah, we just jumped in and got the 46-foot boat. But whatever you're going to need for your family, you're going to realize that you don't need as much stuff. Like, I'm missing half the stuff I had in my home, and you know, it's fine. We don't need it to live off of, but you do need enough space to be comfortable. So at least a 40, like everybody's saying, if not bigger, if there's several of you. We have a 46-foot that's narrow. Most catamarans are 25 feet wide or more, and ours is 21. So when the kids are off of it, it's the size of my 21.
Let me stop you real quick. Sometimes you're a little muffled.
Okay.
I don't know why. Sometimes it's fine, but sometimes a little muffled. So I'm just going to give you a heads up. Thank you so much.
Is it better?
Yeah. Yes, I think so. Say hello one more time.
Hello.
Okay, that's better now.
I have to hold it with my hand, so.
Gotcha. Yeah, my husband and I agree with everybody else. We said 40 as well, 40 or less. 40 and over, you better be comfortable with docking, anchoring, that sort of thing. It can get out of hand really quick if you have a big boat you can't control. So, you know, ours is 38, and we had no clue when we were buying a boat. We found it on Facebook Marketplace. We didn't get to fly to go see it. We had a FaceTime walkthrough. The survey came back great. The space was what we wanted. 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 4 cabins, 2 heads for those people that want to yell at me. But we had no clue what we were doing. So we were very lucky that when we actually got on the boat, it was something we could handle with, especially 2 people, until our son decided he was going to be a third mate as well. So it was wonderful. And it depends what you want to do too. If you're a solo sailor, you might look for something a little smaller so you can single hand that while you're sailing. If you're a family of 4 or family of 6, maybe get a bigger one for that space. And then you have lots of deck mates as well. So 4 cabins and 2 heads. Yes, 4 cabins, 2 heads.
Another thing I forgot to say, Randy Joe, I just thought of when you were saying some of that, was another thing people too do need to consider though is the longer your boat is, it does cost you more because it's per foot for marinas and for hauling out and all that kind of stuff. So that's something to consider. And then also, I know we're fixing to go into this question about the monohull versus the cat thing. And that's another thing, like when you have a catamaran, it's more expensive to dock, more expensive to haul out, that sort of thing. So the size of the boat is going to make your budget and your maintenance and stuff be more.
Yes, and I think we get into that too, is some of these budget and reality checks. So so moving into that, actually, sorry, thank you for reminding me, because this one is really tiny. I can't read it. Monohull versus catamaran. So those of you that don't know, monohull is just a single hull. Catamaran is multi-hull or 2 hulls. So it has 2 livable spaces instead of just 1. So mono versus cat, what made you choose what you have? Tiff?
So this is our 4th, I think, big monohull. So we've just always been monohull people. Like I said, all the boats that we've had that are like larger have always been monohulls. The only kind of like something with 2 holes we've had was like a Hobie Cat on the lake. We've never had like a catamaran liveaboard. But the main difference is going to be cost. Catamarans are typically a lot more expensive than monohulls. So that's something that I always talk about with people. And I always tell them too about just remembering that like I said, the maintenance, the docking, all those kind of things for catamarans are a lot more expensive too. Because I think sometimes people get like the max of what they can afford, but then they don't realize how much the maintenance is going to be. So I always tell people like, be careful about that and make sure that you have a big enough budget to be able to maintain a catamaran.
Salty?
So I wanted to go sooner rather than later. And one of those compromises was that we would do monohulls just cost less money. It was in our budget to get an older boat and to get a monohull. So budget is what it was all about. If we could do it, like if I had won the lottery today, maybe we would move to a catamaran because the space would be nice. But at the same time, we came on this boat with 3 kids, and one of them has moved to land already. The other one's making plans to move to land. So with just the 2 of us and 1 kid, we don't need the extra space, really.
When we first got on this boat, it seemed so big because we were used to a 27-foot.
So a 40-foot boat felt overwhelming to
Yeah,
me.
I mean, now it seems tiny in comparison to a lot of other boats. So it's what you grow into.
Yeah, so definitely necessity of budget is a huge factor. Manta Bear, why did you choose a cat?
So we chose a cat. One for me is that I do get very seasick in monohulls, like trying to cook or just even cut onion. I do get very seasick. The other and most important reason I'm thinking it was because Jeff is working full time from the boat, so we needed space to where he can be kind of have a room quiet. He has a lot of meetings and have his space, and then the kids do homeschool and have their space. So mainly I would say for the space and that I don't get seasick. Then I guess the kids too.
We see Kings?
My phone holder might be making you seasick. It keeps moving on me. There it goes. I also get seasick, and one of my kids. I'm trying to sorry. And we had not just the two kids, but we have two large dogs, and we just wanted the space. Also, I believe that before you get a boat to live on, that you go out on a boat. Just charter a boat for a day, for a week, whatever. Charter a catamaran, charter a monohull. They move completely different ways, and see what you're comfortable with. See what would fit your family, what you like. We spend more time at anchor than in a marina. So for us, the monohull, the catamaran had more stability at anchor. We weren't doing this, and in a slip, it doesn't matter where you put them. But we do spend more time at anchor, so we don't have to pay as much for slips and stuff like that. Catamarans can hobby horse and swim, get flap underneath. Where monohulls don't have that, but they do wheel from side to side. So it's just a preference, and we just found this boat. It was an older catamaran. We've been fixing it up. But if you can, charter a boat and charter a monohull, charter a catamaran. See which one you like. See which one would suit your family.
Now, I could understand most of what you're saying because I'm a sailor and I live on a boat, but it's still muffled. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on.
I don't. Muffled, yeah.
Do you have a microphone or anything plugged in?
He's gonna go get me one. We jumped down here at the last minute, so
no worries.
Can you hear me if I get closer?
We'll try in a minute. Yeah.
You'll see all my wrinkles, but
you can always go off, like if you don't want to be on screen and you can just have your voice too, that might help too. But we love to see faces, so it's up to you.
So there's some wind, we're sailing, I don't know.
I totally get it. I've been there, done that.
Basically I was saying, I don't know if you can hear me better, but if you can charter a monohull and then charter a cat and see which one you like, but it's a preference.
Yeah, I totally agree too. If we would have had the opportunity, we would have definitely tried to do, we would have definitely tried to do sailing classes or a sailing charter or something like that, just to get the feel of it. Find a friend that owned a boat, something. But again, we had no clue. So we did know we wanted more stability and space. So that was important for us. So those two things, we didn't know if our family would get seasick either. So I think the stability, the space, and the shallow draft, we can get to a lot closer to shore than a lot of other boats can because of our very shallow draft. So that was important.
All right. Can you guys hear me better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I'm echoing.
Uh-oh.
Is anyone else hearing me echo?
Yes.
Am I echoing?
No, it's just me.
Okay.
Let me kick you out. I'm going to kick you out and bring you back in. 1 second. Okay, let's try this again. I don't think I'm echoing now. So let me try to invite them again. Technical difficulties while sailing. Okay, we'll see how that goes. Because she's using a mic.
Okay, is that good?
Yes. No. It's still
No?
echo. Might be because you're using the mic.
You're echoing though?
Yeah.
Does everybody hear me echo?
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
All right, let me take it off.
Sorry.
We need to hear Randy Joe.
We'll try it again.
Okay.
That fix it? Testing. Okay. I think that fixed it. Sorry guys.
That's great.
Okay.
All right, I'll just be muffled.
Okay. One way or another, we'll get it.
Somebody said in
figured
the
out.
chat that she could put her microphone on and then mute her microphone when she's not talking, and then you won't echo.
That could be too. Yeah, muting microphones can sometimes help. Okay. Next question. What expense shocked you the most after moving aboard? Tiffany?
I don't really know that we were really shocked because, like I said, we kind of had been part-time before we moved aboard full-time, so we kind of knew what the expenses were going to be. But I guess if you look at it from moving from different countries, we've been shocked on different prices because, like, sometimes you are, like, say in the Bahamas and you need some part and it's like 4 times what it costs in the United States, or like sometimes we're somewhere like in Colombia and you can get a part for like cheaper or whatever. So like I think shocking would be more like when we're traveling to different places, or even like labor costs. If we ask, which we usually do 99% of the stuff ourselves to save money, but labor can be drastically different in different places. So I don't know that there was really any shock about like what the maintenance was going to be on the boat because we had already, been boating and stuff. But there has been some shock in certain places on the cost of certain things, depending on what country we're in.
Yeah, definitely can be a shock. Like you say, moving around. Oh, wait, it was this much. The one place. Fresh to salty? Sorry, I muted you. Okay, there we go.
So I think for us, we didn't realize how much the difference in the price of a marina from one state to the next would be. Because when we first got on the boat, we were in a marina in North Carolina, and then we moved to another marina in North Carolina, and we paid around $500 and something a month for that slip. Either one of those slips, and by the time we got to Florida, you were looking at closer to $2,000 a month for a slip. That part was shocking. We did not go into a marina, and we didn't ever do a mooring ball for the first 3 years. And we did not go in a marina for over a year and a half because they were so expensive. We were just straight on anchor the whole time. Not that we are in a marina right now with the air conditioning on full blast, but we didn't for a long time. It was just so expensive.
Yep, I can see that being a cost for sure. Mansper?
So for us, I think at the beginning, because we had to fix the catamaran, we knew we were gonna be spending so much money, but then it had been so long on the heart, and it had to be like the workers came and helped, started fixing things, and they're like, oh, but we also need to fix this, and we also need to fix this, and we also need to fix this. And I was kind of like, are we gonna have enough savings to like fix it? So that was one big shocking at the beginning. And then the other one is that, yeah, in some islands you would find something that is kind of an okay price, but like in other ones it's like super expensive. Like instead of being like $4, it's $30, and a lot of the times we just didn't buy it. We're like, I know that is very expensive. We can't go without it.
Yeah. We see Kings.
Okay, can you hear me? Same, the cost of groceries in some of the countries like the Bahamas, we knew it would be expensive, but some things are quite pricey, and you just do without, or you pay it. And when an avocado is $9, you don't make guacamole. But and then it gets to the point where when you need groceries, some of the stores here don't price their items, and you're like, just put it in the cart. Don't look, don't ask, just put it in the cart. But the other thing is insurance. it was difficult to get insurance on an older boat, but the cost of the insurance went up once we left the U.S. So insurance costs were a little bit higher out of the U.S. than we had anticipated.
That's what I'm afraid of, the insurance costs out of the U.S.
Yeah, and then, sorry, I'm being demanding some attention here. The other thing is, I just had a thought. Grace was talking about something, or maybe it was somebody else, the cost of parts. When something breaks out here and you can't find it and you have to have it shipped through DHL or whatever, and then you have to pay customs and you have to do all these things, these fees to get your part into the country. Sometimes you pay more to ship it than what the cost of the part was. You have to have it. And so that's a major expense. You have to ship a part from somewhere, from the U.S. to here, and you have to pay for all that shipping and fees. That's a lot more than I expected.
Yeah, luckily I haven't had to experience that yet, but I know many of you have. For us, we agree on most of the stuff. Like the labor costs was really just like super surprising. So we told ourselves, okay, if we can fix 99.9% of this stuff, we're going to do it ourselves, because that is such a huge cost, you know? And so we've saved money on engine repair, sail repair, you know, adding our own instruments in, doing all this stuff our own self, because when they come out and they charge you that $150 or $200 or $300 an hour, it just skyrockets. And then the marine parts, you know, if it says marine grade or marine screwdriver, and you have the same screwdriver from a Harbor Freight, the marine screwdriver costs 3 times the amount. So we buy most of our stuff from Harbor Freight because it's the same thing, and it sometimes lasts a little bit longer than the really expensive marine part that you went to West Marine for. So it's being a budget minded as well for some of these costs. Oof. Sorry, I thought our boat got hit, but in St. Augustine, they like to shoot off cannons once an hour. So crisis averted. Ooh, thought our boat got hit. Okay. We did have a question from the chat.
Can I say one more thing? It's not, I don't want to scare people off. It's not horrible. There are places like the Dominican Republic. Labor there is cheap. We waited until we crossed from the Bahamas to there and had some work done. Way cheaper to have it done there. So it's not all horrible. Don't think it is.
Yes.
And like you said, if you can do it yourself, do it yourself. Figure out how to do it yourself.
Yes. So yeah, maybe when we haul out, we'll go to DR instead of Florida. Yeah. We had a question from the chat. Backyard to Backcountry asked, we can just do a real quick, like hands raised, and then if you raise your hand, let us know what you do. Who works remotely from the boat, and what do you do? Stephen, what do you guys do? What do you do? Sorry, you're on mute.
Sorry.
I do IT consultancy.
IT consulting. Grace? It's Jeff, right?
Yes, it's Jeff, and he does IT as well.
Oh, very nice. Okay, so IT is a big remote job. So anybody out there, if you're an IT person, Boat Life might be for you. I know Tiffany and I do a little bit of social media type stuff. We sell some things on Etsy and little things here and there. But all of us have origin stories that differ from that, so we can get into that maybe a little bit later. We are still in a budget and reality check. So how much money should someone realistically save before starting this lifestyle? Tiffany?
You're on mute.
Sorry. I was trying to figure out how to unmute me. What was the question again?
The question is, how much money should someone realistically have saved before starting?
Oh, that's a tough question. I No, so our story is my husband sold his business that he had for 25 years before we got into this lifestyle. And one thing I wish I would have said earlier in a previous question that I was going to mention right now, what we chose to do when it was time to buy a boat was buy outright what we could afford so we wouldn't have a boat payment. So I try to tell people that we talk to a lot, try to get your bills as low as you can before you come out here because another common misconception, which I think this might come up in another question, I can't remember, is a lot of times people think they're going to start their social media account and then they're going to like be viral and be like having this full-time income off of social media. So they go with like 5K, 10K and thinking about 3-4 months I'll be making money online. Wrong. Very few people. I know a lot of people who have like hundreds of thousands of followers, and even them are not making like full-time income where they can just do nothing else. So it's very hard to actually make a full-time income where you're only making money on social media. Most people still have like rental income or like rental properties back home they're making money off of, or like we sold a business, or people are doing remote work. So usually, or doing an Etsy store, or whatever. So usually people are doing something outside of social media. So yeah, I think that that's a big like misconception. But like you definitely want to have an emergency fund of probably like 10K or something like that, because if your engine goes out or you blow a sail or something big happens, you need to have the money to fix it. Those are the main like big things on a sailboat is going to be like your sail. If you blew a sail out, they're not cheap. Obviously, if you blow out your engine, that's not cheap. We've had an engine blow and had to re-put a new one in. Just throw the whole boat away. I'm just telling you, okay? It is a miserable experience. We had a 45-foot sailboat, monohull. The engine blew. We had to put a new one in it. Just don't do it. Burn the whole thing down, start over.
That's hilarious. Fresh to salty?
Whatever your budget is, I would say double it. And I 100% agree with the buy the boat out with cash.
There's no way we would have done this if we were making a payment on the boat. It's just not feasible, I don't feel like. The other thing is, if you mortgage a boat, then the place, sorry, we're getting a little late. If you have a mortgage on your boat, the mortgaging company or the bank can also limit where you can go. So they might tell you can only go to North Carolina I've heard of people that couldn't leave North Carolina because their boat was mortgaged. So if you want freedom to travel, pay cash for your boat and then double or triple whatever you think your budget might need to be.
Yeah, because we paid 80 for the boat and we spent at least that on doing a refit on it.
The 27.
Good tips, guys. Mansper?
So we have some savings, and I would say also recommend not financing the boat. And what we did to be able to not do that, we actually asked Jeff's parents for a loan, and they helped us with that because I don't know if banks, I think they probably will give you a loan, but like super high interest rate, I don't know. But we were saving for about 8 years, like saving, and then I would say, don't they say like for whatever the cost of your boat is, like expect at least 10% of that, and repairs and maintenance, like, little things here and there. So yeah.
All good tips. We see Kings?
Sorry, somebody's talking on the radio. I like the answer of whatever you think it is, double it, because that is true. 24 hours after we purchased this boat, 24 hours into motoring off into the sunset, we lost an engine. So yay, that was a huge expense. I think my husband has some stuff he wants to talk about as far as we paid cash for the boat. We don't have a boat payment. We don't have a house payment, just the insurance. And then you have to have enough saved for when things do break. So what were you going to say?
I would say about 15% of the cost of the boat is an emergency fund, because that will cover a lot of your big items. And then you probably want to budget, and it isn't always the same, but I would say somewhere about $1,000 a month on average for maintenance items throughout the year, whether that be fuel, oil, the big things with pumps go, just a ballpark figure for me. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like boat budgeting could be an entire live by itself. There's
Absolutely.
so many tips and so many things to talk about for budgeting. We have a new sailor in the house, Sailing Kismet. Can you guys give us just a quick intro? Who you are, where you are? Oh, or not.
Changed his mind.
He said in the comment that he was losing his signal.
Oh, losing signal. I see that. They're getting closer to Wi-Fi. Okay. Well, maybe they'll be back. We'll continue. Let's see here. For us, we completely did not do any of that. We are totally the opposite direction, and I have no issues. Stop. My husband's being annoying. He's like a little kid. Get out of here. I have no issues being honest with that. We also got a family loan because we couldn't deal with the interest rates. We're still paying that off today. We did not have any money saved. Literally, this went from 2 months from idea to getting on the boat. So we had zero money saved. We have the credit cards, we have the debt, we have all that stuff. We wouldn't change it for the world, okay? We are still loving our boat life. We're paying a lot less bills, honestly, than land life, and we're making it work. Sometimes it's pretty tough if it's paycheck to paycheck type stuff and you have a major issue come about. But we still, if we had to gimp around on one engine, we'd gimp around on one engine. Like that's what we do. We wouldn't trade it. So don't listen to us for financial advice. Oh boy. Let's see here. We're going to skip the Marina Life versus anchoring question. We're a little short on time, so I'm going to skip a couple of these questions here. We kind of talked about most shocking expense, but what is the biggest hidden cost that you've found? Hidden. Tiffany?
I don't know if these are the same questions we read over.
I remember this when I was reading the questions.
Me
Okay,
neither.
pause for a second, come back to me. I got to think.
Sure thing. Fresh to salty, do you have an idea for a hidden cost?
When you're hauling out, if you are doing the work yourself, it's things like paint brushes, pots to put your paint in. That all adds up. I mean, we just recently hauled out, had the entire bottom of the boat done, and it's all the extra little
It
bits.
was every single day we were going to Ace Hardware to buy something else. Every day, those little expenses added up, but also you have to be very careful when you do haul out because some yards DIY, you show up, it's a flat rate for the month or for the day. Other ones, it's a certain rate unless you're working on the boat. And if you're working on the boat, there's an additional, you have to be very careful about what the fees are going to be when you haul out, for sure.
Grace?
Well, I can't really think of anything, but yes, the going to the store, oh, I need these some screws, I need this, and like little things here start adding up a lot. And also, I would say a hidden cost is like when you have like a list of things that you know they need to get replaced. Okay, I need to get replaced this, and that. But then something that you weren't expecting breaks. And then you're like, oh, well, I have to fix that. And sometimes when something unexpected breaks, it could be, you know, like a few $100s to a couple of $1,000s.
Lacey Kings?
Everybody said, and sometimes when you go get a slip and they tell you it's this much per foot, you know, okay, you get in there, but then there's an extra fee for this, and there's an extra fee for the power, and there's an extra fee for water, and there's an extra, you know, some marinas don't charge extra for water, some do. You need to make sure when you call a marina to get prices or you look online that you have all the breakdown of it. They do have discounts usually if you're staying there longer. You know, they have daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, whatever. The other thing is if you are going to start a project, you're going to fix something, replace something, you go, okay, this is what I need, this is the tools I need, this is the part. Be prepared to find like 3 other things that need to be fixed when you go in to fix that one thing. So don't think, okay, I'm going to fix this one thing and this is how much it's going to be. No, you're going to get in there and you're going to find 2 or 3 other things that also need to be fixed or whatever. So always have a little extra Money and time, says Kate. Money and time.
Right. Sometimes it can be a rabbit hole. You just keep finding issues and issues and issues. When it's like an onion, you peel back the layers and there's more issues there.
And
Liveaboard fee.
Also, the DR was way cheaper. We hauled out there and had a bunch of stuff done. But they charge a DIY fee at this marina if you're going to do the work yourself. So figure that out before you start, because it's still cheaper than hiring someone to do it, but they may charge you depending on, like this particular marina asked us what we would be doing ourselves, and then they charged us a DIY fee accordingly.
And then some places you can't work on it and you have to use their select vendors, which cost an arm and a leg also. It's just ridiculous. But it's totally worth it, everybody. Don't worry. For us, it's the unforeseen repairs. My husband had an answer of ignorance is a hidden cost, because if you are not wise about things you're doing on your boat, and that can really cost a lot of money with those repairs that you need to fix. And other things too that I've seen a lot in just in being in the marine world for 6 years is people that don't do research on how to fix things. And so the example I have is somebody had a bad fuel or bad water tank or bad black water tanks. They had to get them out. They'd already bought the boat. They have to, in order to get the tank out, cut the flooring out to remove the tank. So to really understand, like, is it easy to get to my engines? Or am I going to need to remove some part of my boat to get the engine out? Like, how am I going to repair this stuff? Because that can really be hidden. Okay, and this is going to be like just a really quick around the room answer, like 2-second answer. So get your thoughts about this when I ask, what's really worth spending extra money on immediately? Okay, ready, Tiffany?
So
A washing machine, so you don't have to take all of your clothes to land. I love having a washing machine.
Washing machine, fresh and salty.
Water maker.
Water maker, Grace.
Well, I would say water maker or solar.
Okay, and we see Kings.
Water maker, solar.
Very cool. We said, what did we say? Oh, safety equipment. We spent all the money on the safety equipment. Haven't had to use it necessarily just yet, but we think that's worth spending money on immediately, is all that important safety equipment. Okay, beginner mistakes. What's the most common mistake new liveaboards make? Yeah.
Kind of like what I said earlier is the thing about social media. I feel like everybody that starts this lifestyle thinks that they're going to get on the boat and start doing social media for their income, and they get themselves in trouble because they don't have enough money to even move around or be able to travel or maintain their boats, because they had it in their mind that they were going to be like a viral channel in 3 or 6 months, and they didn't really plan for like a plan B. And I see that as a misconception a lot of times, and I feel like everybody that gets on a boat thinks that that's going to be their full income.
And salty.
Well, I got 3 things. So anchoring, knowing how to anchor. I mean, our first year, that was purely learning how to anchor.
We drove from North Carolina to Florida.
So, and weather, learning about weather. Ever since we figured out how weather works, we've been so much happier and more comfortable. And I would say the last thing is stop watching YouTube, because influencers are there for one reason, to influence. The equipment that they get, might not work for you. We've had so many pieces of equipment that we got through influencers because, this channel has to have it.
Because Stephen was watching YouTube and saying, but so-and-so uses this brand, and so-and-so said this is what you really need to have.
And I think that's cost us a lot of money in the long term.
Yeah, it has. Yeah.
Great points. Manta Bear?
So I would say I see a lot of people that rent charters and they don't have a lot of experience, and they do anchor very close. And this is something we didn't really know about ourselves first, but anchorages, they are very different within themselves. Like some of them, the current will always keep pointing at one like point. And other places, when it gets calm at night, you start like just drifting and doing crazy things, and you can bump into other boats. So this year I've experienced it more to where I saw a lot of like Jeff and I were anchored like kind of far away from everywhere or at the very back. And then it seems like people want to anchor very close to us. And I would say, why? You have all the space, just like, so that's what I see a lot as a new people anchoring too close.
You need the anchoring class before they're allowed to charter, I think. We see Kings.
Yeah, besides the obvious, knowing how to run a boat and anchor and all that, I would say one of the biggest mistakes is they get on a boat, and before they've even gone anywhere, they're buying all the things. I need this, and I need that, and I need this equipment and that gear. They just kit it out with everything, and then you get out there and realize you did not need half of that stuff that you spent money on. So have what is absolutely necessary and go live on the boat for a month, 6 months, whatever, and then go, okay, I could use this, I could use that. Don't just go and blow all this money on all this cool stuff because, like he said, you saw it on the internet, or you saw it in a West Marine for a fortune. Go be on the boat for a while first, and then decide what you need other than the basic stuff that you know.
Great point. Yeah,
Something really quick.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say we did take a class, or we actually took the ASA 101 before sailing this boat, and we also hired a captain to come teach us exactly what to do. And I think a lot of people, we've heard other stories where we saw one boat dragging in Beckway where he just dropped the anchor, and the anchor was touching the ground, but he didn't know anything about dropping chain, anything like that. So maybe take a class, at least the basics and safety.
Please, for everyone's safety, the safety of our vessels, take a class or watch a YouTube for that, please.
The insane thing is, I always say we drove from North Carolina to Florida, and we took ASA 101, 103, and 104 before we ever left North Carolina.
But they didn't teach you how to anchor? Well, I guess it depends on your equipment,
They did not teach us. I don't think he taught us how to back down properly, and I don't think that he taught us really the correct amount of chain to put out.
Gotcha.
So we did all that dragging based off of what we were taught in our ASA class.
Yep. So yeah, I agree with the YouTube stuff. It's not all beaches and bikinis and beers. Don't fall for it. Definitely try before you buy. If you can, get a captain if you can afford it. I wouldn't say that this is a mistake. It's just something to think about. Is we witnessed a lot of our class, I'll say our class, because the very first boaters starting out as little families going sailing in our year, which was 2020, a lot of them aren't doing it anymore. They lasted 6 months. They sold their home, they sold their car, they sold, some had businesses, sold the business, sold everything, bought the biggest boat they could afford, started sailing, hated it, left after 6 months, didn't have a home, didn't have a car, didn't have a business. You get my point. Kids pulled out of school. No one's happy. So please, really, really consider trying it before you buy it. And we did a test out. We rented our home for a year. We drove our cars to where the boat would be. So we still had a vehicle. Some people can't do that, but it was within our budget to be able to do that by renting our home. We didn't have a mortgage to pay. So always keep that in mind, I think, too. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a disclaimer that are in here, you sailors. If you do need to pop out, it's been almost an hour. So if you do need to pop out, it won't hurt my feelings. You can leave at any time. Just give me a wave and head out. But we'll probably go to about 3:30, 3:15, 3:30, if that's okay. And I am going to skip some of the questions just so we can fit it all in. And if anybody else has questions in the our viewers, you can drop that in the comments and I will do my best to fit that in. Okay, so we're going to skip down to lifestyle and relationships. So I think I really like these two questions the best. What type of person usually thrives in a liveaboard lifestyle? Thriving. Tiffany?
Definitely somebody with a laid back attitude that can go with the flow. If you are very uptight and you want to be on a schedule and you want 1 p.m. to be this and next Thursday on the 14th you're going to do this and whatever, you're going to hate it because you cannot plan here. You don't know when something's going to break. You don't know when you're going to get stuck. You don't know when the weather's going to stop you and mess you up. So you definitely need to be very flexible. Can y'all hear me okay? Okay. You definitely got to be like flexible and not be very rigid with plans or with like wanting to know. Like people will ask us sometimes, "Hey, I want to come visit you in September. Where are you going to be at?" Bro, I have no earthly idea where I'm going to be at in September. So yeah, if you're the type that wants like your whole year scheduled out, boating is not going to be for you. You're not going to like it.
Yeah, for sure. Fresh to salty?
I would agree with Tiffany, and I would also say that you have to be somebody that enjoys being physical about things, because live a boat is not for the lazy. Liveaboard is not for the lazy, for sure. And if you really want to do this, and you're not somebody who physically is active, start today. You need to start walking every day. You need to start, not even real exercise, go for walks, go volunteer somewhere, be extremely active, because otherwise you're going to really struggle when you first get on the boat.
I think the other people that we've seen that have gone back to land have been people that have struggled with having all of their creature comforts that they were used to on land, and then it doesn't transfer to the boat.
Yes.
Yeah, some people just really need that bathtub. So I like baths, but
miss a bathtub.
Wait for an Airbnb if possible. Grace?
I would say also like problem solving mentality, to where like sometimes things have broken and you have to like figure it out. How am I gonna do it? I can't get the piece, and maybe gluing it will work until you get that piece. And I think we are to like used to like, oh, it doesn't break, let me just throw it away. But a lot of the times we have learned to fix it and work with it until we can replace it by any whatever it is. So I would say problem solving, like figure it out how to solve something, especially under like high tension.
Mm-hmm. We see Kings?
I was pretty much going to say all of that. Somebody that is a problem solver.
Engineers!
My husband's yelling engineers because he's an engineer, and he loves to solve problems. So he's been very busy on the boat.
Because they're going to get.
And it's not
that's
just
the one that got mad at people.
Not just problem solving when it comes to mechanical issues, but everything. Like, okay, we can't make it to this island by this date. Like you were talking, we had friends visit, and they were like, "Well, when are you going to be in Nassau? And what time are you going to?" No, that's doesn't work that way. But problem solving. What are we making for dinner? I got this, and this. I don't have half of what I need for this recipe. I'm just going to wing it and make something, just make it up. You need to be easygoing, and you can't let things stress you out, because there's just always going to be something. So just, if you don't know how already, this is going to teach you how to relax.
Be a more patient person, for sure.
Or not, you're going back to land, but yeah.
Yes. I agree. Being adventurous, open-minded, crafty, willing to learn, all these things, and a good problem solver. Somebody not afraid to get their hands dirty. Those kind of things are really going to help you be successful in boat life. And speaking from experience, my answer will roll into the next question. But speaking from experience, like a lot of this, I had to change a lot as a person to live this lifestyle. So if I can do it, you can do it. So that's the next section, though. So that's people that can handle it. What type of person usually hates it? Tiffany?
This is something I was thinking about as everyone was talking, that I was going to say is somebody that can't stay calm in emergency situations. If you're the type of person that like one little thing goes wrong and you're just like the end of the world and you just can't deal with it and you're just like, what? I don't even care. I'm not even going to deal with it. You can't have that kind of attitude when you're 400 miles offshore on a week-long passage and something breaks, baby. You just better have a good attitude because there ain't nobody going to help you fix it. So just pull your big girl underwear on and go deal with it because you're going to have to. So I think if you need to have a calm disposition when you're in a emergency situation or when things are going wrong or could turn into an emergency. And so that's something I feel like Jimbo and I are very good at. When we have things go wrong, my two children literally don't even know things are going wrong because we just deal with it. We just stay calm, we communicate, we deal with the problem. My kids are never like, oh my God, panic, because we're not panicked. And they're looking at our cues for if they should be panicking or not. And so we don't panic in those situations because I don't want my kids panicking. So like my kids don't even know when things are going wrong because we're just staying calm and deal with what we got to deal with.
Good call. Fresh to salty? Sorry, muted you. Sorry, I put mute. Sorry.
He said we panic all the time, but I think we do panic about things, but not in the same way that we did the first year. Like, it's the same issues happening. We just handle it better now. The first year we panicked about everything all the time, constantly.
Like an example, like we were.
You can learn not to panic.
Yeah, we were like offshore. We were not offshore in this instance, actually. We were like right beside an island. I don't even remember what island. But we were right near an island. We hit a crab pot. Finally got into the crab pot club. Finally hit one. And because I was distracted, I was one supposed to watch, but I was doing something else. Anyway, well, I had to jump in, which Jimbo was going to do it, but I'm the type of like skipper or a first mate or whatever you want to call it that likes to do this stuff. So like prove I'm like a good first mate. So it's like, no, let me do it. So I jump in and I'm like, out of breath, swimming down with a dive knife, trying to cut this thing off over and over. But in my mind, I was thinking, if we were offshore right now, I wouldn't give up because you have to do it. What are you going to do? Sit there forever and not deal with it? So I just kept going under, and of course, Jimbo offered me. I was like, no, I got this. So like I kept diving under, finally get it off. But in my mind, I'm telling myself when we were on an offshore passage, 400, 500 miles offshore, you have to do it. So I might as well just keep on keeping on because you don't really have a choice.
Fortunately, I tend to, I may be panicked, but I act in the moment. And then after it's all over and done, I'll go sit down and start, oh my God, we almost died. I mean, I lose it after the event is over.
Hey, that's good. That's fine.
Stress later, yes. Grace, what do you think? Who should not, whatever, but who has a hard time handling boat life?
I would say someone who, because there's all kinds of different people and styles and everything. And there are people that like the city life a lot, like going to malls and buying a bunch of things. I look like wearing high heels and very, very dressed up. And like, I used to do my hair and my makeup all the time and like try to go out and be presentable. And here it's like, you're gonna get sweaty. You already took a shower the morning, if you were lucky. And you like lift up your arms or you're hugging someone and you're like, I'm sorry, I'm sticky. I know I smell. And they're like, don't worry, I am the same way. You're gonna be getting beaten by mosquitoes a lot. Have to walk or grocery bags. We hold them for like 3 miles and like I feel my arms are falling out and I'm just like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. But then, it's just like a mental game. Because a lot of the times I'm like, I'm walking with a bunch of groceries and I'm like, I can do it. And then you just keep walking and then get there. So you have to be resilient to do this. Very resilient and adaptable to new things. New culture, new food, languages, everything every day it's not a routine. It's just something new is gonna to happen and you have to adapt.
Yeah, it can be a huge life change for people, for sure. We see Kings. What do you see that doesn't work well?
Well, y'all stole my answers, first of all. Same thing. Someone who is easily stressed out, easily there's a difference between fear and uncontrolled anxiety, my husband says. If there's a reason to be fearful of something, okay, you suck it up and you handle it. You don't, but if you cannot control your anxiety, this may not be the life for you. You know, right now we're sailing these beautiful Bahamian waters. It's a great day, blah, blah, blah. We were crossing from, last year, we were crossing from here to the Dominican Republic. And we had probably the roughest passage we'd ever had. It was the one single time my husband was almost like, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm going to turn the boat around and go back. We had multiple things broken on the boat. Can you hear me okay? We had multiple things break on the boat. I don't know. Is that better?
Yeah, a little bit.
Something's up with my microphone. We had several things broken on the boat. The passage was rough. We lost our steering, and we lost our autopilot. My husband had to go down into the engine compartment to try to figure out the steering issue while I steered the boat with the throttles. So we both had to be, calm and under control and figure it out. And we were tacking the whole way. In the middle of the night, the helm seat post broke and the whole helm seat fell over with me in it. You just have to be able to handle those type of situations as they arise without freaking out. You can freak out later, but when it's happening, you have to be calm.
Yes, for sure. Calm, cool, and collected really helps walking through the situation as it's happening, for sure. I would say like the control freaks are the ones that would really have a hard time living this lifestyle. We boated with one. It was really tough. We did the best we could, but it was a strict timeline, strict, have to be at this location by this time. And sometimes that put us in a dangerous spot to be buddy boating with them. So it was a little tough. That was a first lesson learned right off the bat, is that some of these personalities, you really have to kind of be adaptable and change a few things of how you are. And me, I actually was pretty a control freak. I like planning. I like knowing what's happening all the time, 24/7. And so I've had to let go a lot of that stuff and really just, again, go with the flow. Just calm, not stress out, and honestly get rid of my calendar, because nothing really works out. Or if I have a calendar, it's in pencil now, so I can actually erase it and not have it in pen. So just these little tips. Message me for more tips on if you have these issues and you do want to live this life, because I'm a true testament. Let's see here. Danson in the Rain had two questions, I think. Hi, Foster. Danson had two questions. She actually asked if we could see the view, if they could see the view. So if you're willing and able, if you want to stand up and show us your view real quick. Danson requested to see the views. I'm going to show you guys a pirate ship, which is pretty cool. So we are in St. Augustine. Flip camera.
How do I don't even know how to flip camera when I'm on a group.
Turn your phone around, girl.
Me neither.
How do you do it when I'm on a group?
Just turn your phone around.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect. Looks awesome. Ooh, I love the Bahamas. Nice. Ooh, I love it. The sail up. We see kings. So good. So good. Okay, now let me see. Figure out the flip again. Okay, cool. Little field trip there. Okay, Danson also had a question of groceries. Do you budget when you go shopping for groceries? Do you budget each time, Tiffany?
We try to, but it's very hard for us because we're switching countries pretty frequently. So I've talked about this a lot, but like sometimes when we're in cheap places, like they've said DR, Colombia was pretty good on groceries. But then like when we were in Turks and Caicos or in Bahamas, it's very expensive. So we do the best we can, but it also depends on what country we're in, because sometimes groceries are like astronomically expensive. Like we paid $10 for a head of lettuce in the Bahamas before, but then like you go to Colombia or DR and it's like really cheap groceries. So it really depends. We kind of try to keep like a range, I guess, but it definitely is hard to keep exact dollars, especially with different currencies, different countries, because we're switching a lot.
Thanks. Fresh to salty?
That's actually changed a lot for us recently. We have in the past been very budget. Holy smokes. These boats coming in with the tide going out is crazy. Anyway, we've been very budget aware with groceries in the past, but right now with just me and we're used to feeding 5 people and we're currently only feeding 3, and all of a sudden it's a lot less expensive to eat burritos down the street than it is to cook. So we're just avoiding the grocery budget altogether right now.
I hear that. Grace?
So I feel like there are some islands like the French islands that we know we can buy like meat really cheap and things like that, and we'll buy them in bulk and freeze them. And then when we go like, or if we know the next island things are very expensive, then we'll try to buy a bunch of things before leaving. But if we get to that island, either we just don't buy it because it's like more like it becomes a luxury, and we don't get it at the time, or just wait for another island to get it. But if it's like a necessity, which always is not really a necessity, we will buy it. But most of the time we wait for the next island, or we try to provision when it's cheap or cheaper. Guess it's not cheap, cheaper. Yeah,
A little less expensive. Yes. We see Kinks.
Okay. Can you hear me?
For now, yes.
Like I said, it depends where you are. One of the things we did is our first year on the boat, we stayed on the East Coast. We went up and down. We were in and out, ICW, jumping out, to get a hang of the boat, a feel for the boat. We did that the first year before crossing over to the islands. And so that's a little different. As long as you can get to a store, you pretty much know in the States what to expect. Out here, it's not so much. So in the Dominican Republic, it was super cheap. It was cheaper to go out to eat than to buy groceries sometimes, but the groceries were cheap. So we don't budget here like we did in a house. Okay, so before jumping over the Bahamas, we went to Costco and we did a huge run, because the Bahamas is one of those places where if you can find groceries, they're pricey. So we just filled every nook and cranny, freezer, fridge with Costco in Florida before hopping over. Then as we went down the island chain, as we got to Puerto Rico, we did another big Costco run. So we had a big grocery expense those 2 times, but they lasted a long time. And you learn to buy things that will keep on the boat. Sorry. I don't know what he's saying, but anyway. And then on the island, you just buy things as you need, like produce, like fresh stuff. You buy them as you need. And the French islands, those groceries are a little more equipped than the ones in the Bahamas. So it's not a budget like you would have in a house where you have a monthly grocery budget. It's more like we do a huge provision, spend a lot, but then we live off of that for weeks or months.
Yep, I agree. For us, it's usually the bigger provisions, Costco, or when we go into grocery stores, maybe once every 2 weeks or 3 weeks or so, it's a BOGO. So we look for the buy one, get one deals. And if we've never had it before, but we think we might eat it and it's BOGO, we usually get it. And then if we really wanted something, but it's not BOGO, then we don't get it. So that's how we work. Okay, we are going to skip a couple of sections here. We're going to go more into the cruising and confidence section. What waters and routes would you recommend for beginners?
If you're in the U.S., probably Florida, and then once you gain a little confidence, Bahamas. That's what most people start at, and the Keys, things like that. So you're not having to do very, very long distances. I mean, unless you want to. The good news too about the just the Caribbean in general, not just the Bahamas, is most of it you don't have to do an overnight for. There are 2 or 3 spots like DR to Puerto Rico or back, or like whatever, or like Turks and Caicos over to DR. There's things that are like an overnight, but you're never going to be going 3-4 days straight trying to get to the next island. So that's why it's such a good starting point, and I feel like why a lot of people really enjoy the Caribbean, besides the fact that it's beautiful and like the perfect tropical paradise, but also it's because you don't really have to do very long passages for days and days to try to get anywhere. So I think it's a great starting point.
Awesome. Fresh and salty, Latrell?
I would definitely say don't do what we did. We started in North Carolina and almost immediately did like a 3-day passage on our we went from the marina to a place to anchor at Cape Lookout, and then 3 days straight down on the outside. That was wild when you don't know what you're doing in the first place. Definitely day hop and stop and anchor at night. Down through the Keys all the way to Dry Tortugas even, and then next step would be, I would say, the Bahamas for sure.
Definitely. Grace, what about you guys?
So we started actually in Grenada, and we didn't have a lot of experience. We started with, that's when we had the captain that took us from Grenada to Beckway. And we even took like little stops, and it was like, little parts. And then once we were by ourselves, then we would do like a Saturday sail to when we went from one island to the other in like about 10-hour sail. So I would say, yeah, in a place where you could do a little bit at a time, and then when it comes to increase it by another little, then so it doesn't feel overwhelming at the beginning.
Points. So sorry.
Unmute. Like I said, we did the coast before heading over to the Bahamas, but my husband just made a point that people are afraid when they get on a boat. They've never done this. They're afraid of big ocean, like open ocean. They're afraid of being out here where there's not a lot in sight, or night sailing. This is easy. There's no boats that are going to hit you. There's, you're out here in deeper water. There's nothing. This is easy. This is easier than going up and down the coast or the ICW, where motorboats are flying by you and waking you, and there's shallow areas that you could ground on and all kinds of things like that. That being said, the Bahamas is not a big deal, but I do recommend doing something along the coast first before hopping over. We met a family who flew to South Africa and bought a 50-something foot catamaran for their family. Never had done this before, and sailed it with a captain, but they sailed it from South Africa to the Bahamas, or to Grenada, he says. It was rough. It was huge seas. It was awful. And they were all off the boat within that year. So start easy and, take time, 6 months to a year to just learn everything, learn your boat, and then hop out and do it.
I love that point about the oceans. The open ocean is actually the easy part. That's so true. We would much rather be out doing multi-day sails in the ocean than traveling in the ICW any day. So for sure.
Absolutely. Anytime that we can go on the outside versus the ICW, we're straight out.
Yeah. And if you guys don't know what the ICW is, it's the Intercoastal Waterway on the Atlantic side. It kind of runs from Florida all the way up to to New Jersey, and it's a separate waterway from the ocean. So you could literally be in it's a highway for boats, and if your mast is short enough, like 64 or below, you can travel this waterway. You also, if your draft is short enough, if your keel goes 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, it's going to be a little tougher to travel. But we definitely agree on the Florida Keys. We had our boat for about 3 weeks in the water. We decided, hey, let's just go to the Bahamas. We started the planning. Again, this was during the pandemic, so stuff really wasn't working out pandemic wise. So we thought, okay, well, I guess instead of going to the Bahamas, we'll try the Florida Keys. boy, are we glad we did, because we learned a lot of anchoring. We had a lot of anchoring mistakes. We had a lot of weather come up. We had a lot of shallow water cuts with swift water, bridge openings. I mean, we learned so much in the Florida Keys. So if you could start anywhere, I would say start Florida Keys for sure. Okay, so we're going to skip to the last question of the day. And then again, if the viewers have any questions, go ahead and drop them and I'll try to get them answered for you guys. If you had to start over from scratch tomorrow, what would you do differently? Some of you might have already answered this sort of, but if you could start from scratch, what would you do differently? Tiffany? You're on mute, hun.
Oops, sorry. Me and Jimbo were just saying this the other day. I kind of wish we would have like flew to like Asia or somewhere like super cheap and bought a boat there and started out somewhere cheaper, because our first like 6 months was like super expensive with all the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos. Then we got a break in the DR for a little bit, and then it gets expensive in other areas as well. And I told him one of the things I wish we would have done was like just flew to somewhere cheap like Asia, bought a boat there, and like started out in a very cheap area. That's what I wish we would have done differently.
Good tip. Cool. Thanks. Fresh to salty?
I think we may have, I felt like the 40-foot boat was overwhelming, but if I knew everything I know now, we may have went a little bigger and just realized that we would figure it out the same like we did with the 40-foot boat. Definitely, we would not have done tower in a box. We would have had a custom arch built. Don't think we would have done Spectra water. We would have not been so influenced by YouTubers that we bought things like tower in the box and a Spectra water maker. We would have went with the stuff that we actually needed.
And I think because we had young teenagers on board, we would have definitely have gone to Georgetown in the Bahamas.
Yes. One of our biggest regrets is that we didn't go straight to Georgetown year one. We were 4 years on the boat before we ever went to Georgetown. And that I regret that, because the kids had an amazing time in Georgetown and we just didn't know.
Perfect. Thank you. Grace?
I think we would have for sure, and I'm thinking Jeff will be thinking the same, that we would have started sooner on their plane. Sorry about that. Yeah, so but because of the experiences, how life it is so different, I feel like we get to enjoy every day more and live here now in the present. I would say we spend so much money on different things that, you buy this and then the next day throw it away. I didn't like the color. I didn't like this. And you spend so much wasting that this is totally worth it. We are like, you used to get to enjoy every day more. So I would say just have done it earlier.
Very cool. Same here. We see Kings.
I agree with Grace. Don't.
Why you mad at me?
Don't let my husband hear me say this, but he's been trying to get. He had tried for 12 years to get me to do this, and I didn't want to. And now I definitely would have done it sooner, because my boys are turning 18. They're getting ready to go off on their own, and I think that if you're going to have children on a boat, any age, do it. But, the younger, the better. I mean, the world is their playground out here. They just, so much for them to learn and do. It's so many life experiences that I wish I hadn't waited until they were teenagers, because, teenagers know everything and everything is boring. But, yeah, I would definitely have taken my kids out here sooner. I think 5 to 10, perfect time to take kids out here. But other than that, I mean, we took our time. Our boat is not perfect, but no boat is perfect. We thought about, when we go back to land, selling the boat and getting a different one. And I don't want to. I have learned what's wrong with my boat and what I've fixed on my boat. And even if you buy a brand new one, it's going to be broken. So I think I'm going to stick with this. So just doing it sooner. Don't wait till you're retired. I've seen too many people. When I retire, I'm going to go sail and I'm going to do this, and then life happens. Somebody gets sick or something happens. We're in our 50s. I would have totally done this sooner.
Yeah, and I totally second that. A lot of people ask me, well, I've got young kids, and I'm like, that's perfect. Take them now, because our son was a teenager. He was 14, and it was kind of hard to get in that boat life routine. But now, with all the experiences he's had and all the people he's met and all the connections he has now, he's even been using boat life as a resume builder and, essay for essays at school, and all this stuff that he's learned from boat life. It's transferring to his life already as a young man of 19. So for us, if we could have done it over, I think we would have taken the opportunity to fly to Florida. I think that's a really great place to look for boats. Fly to Florida, spend a week or two actually going to marinas, meeting with brokers. I don't know if we do a broker, but meeting with people that know of boats and different styles, go to a boat show, like just experience everything that boats have to offer, because there's so much out there. Just by looking online, you might not know what you need. And a good example is this boat we got really lucky with. I'm a taller person, so when we first stepped in here, we wouldn't have known online like for headspace, but luckily we have enough headspace on this boat, and I don't really hit my head too often. But that's one thing you have to think about too. Like, am I going to have to duck down? I don't have enough room to even sleep in this bed. So getting on and actually figuring out what you like, that's what would have probably done over as well. But we do love our boat. We're very lucky with our boat.
I haven't met one cruiser yet that has said, we wish we'd waited 10 years.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Do it. Exactly.
And along the lines of boat shopping, I think we took like 6 to 9 months. But we went to the boat shows. Now, we were not looking to buy a $2 million boat like they have at the boat shows. Mm-hmm. But by going on to all of those different boats, we were looking for a catamaran. We were able to say, okay, I like this style. I don't like that style. This ceiling is too low. This would have enough room. This is the size we need. So do the boat show, even though you're not looking to buy those, to see what kind of boat would work for you, and then go shopping for an older boat.
I agree with that. I wish we would have done that too as well, because this is the first boat we kind of just walked in and looked at it and we're like, okay, it's here, we like it. But then we wish we would have had that feel of like how even in catamarans, they're so different compared one to each other. So
yeah, there's so much to see, so much out there. So get your feet wet, literally. Get out there and see them. We did have one more question from the chat, and then we're going to wrap it up. But so this is just a raise your hand question. Have you ever been in the ocean and felt scared?
Yes.
Yes. Tiffany says sort of. We can elaborate that later. But if you want to find out the answer, be sure to go follow all of our sailors and ask them that question again. I'm sure they can tell you some really fun stories. And we have actually discussed safety at sea before and gone over some of those stories. So tune into Sailors Roundtable every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And we have a different topic every time. And Kimberly, we answered that earlier. A few people in here do work remotely on IT, and other people have origin stories. And again, most of us go live. So when you see us live, ask all the questions. We appreciate that.
Did you say every Saturday?
Oh, every third Saturday.
Okay. I was like, wait, we changed to every Saturday?
No, I can't commit to that. I love you guys, but I cannot commit to that. Yeah. I see another question there, Steve. Yes, there's they're called surveyors, like a home inspector, but yes. Thanks guys for being here. I love seeing all your beautiful faces on the screen, and thank you to our viewers. Be sure to follow all of our sailors and go give them some love when they're live. And if you have any questions, feel free to message any of us. I'm sure we'd be happy to help you with your boat life endeavors. So thank you everybody for being